It's now 4:30 on WKYT this morning. We're tracking the latest out of Georgetown after a rolling meth lab crashed into a Kentucky State Police cruiser. What troopers say is a growing problem in the area. Coming up.
Firefighters battled a massive fire at a lumber yard in Menifee County. It quickly spread into a national forest. And a Central Kentucky boy is making the rounds on some national talk shows. We'll show you Peyton Henderson's appearance on the Late Late Show.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. It's nice to have you with us bright and early, or dark and early, here on this Wednesday, April 1st. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. We had a lot of brightness yesterday in terms of sunshine.
We did. Beautiful.
And warmth. And hopefully it could be another day like that. I don't know. What do you say, Jim?
I think it's going to be just like that. Maybe not quite as warm, but we'll still have plenty of sunshine out there and very warm temperatures back in the mid and upper 60s at least. There's Defender. That's Kentucky's most powerful live Doppler. It's going to get a workout later this week, but this morning that is not the case. It stays on the quiet side. A little bit cooler, as we were talking about yesterday morning, for today. 40 degrees in Lexington, 36 out toward Mount Sterling, and we'll still watch some of those 30s try to creep into central Kentucky as we head through the rest of the morning here. So certainly the chill in the air will be thick, but it goes away later today. We'll take a closer look at all of that coming up in just a few minutes.
Yes, sir, and we'll see you then. We thank you. And this morning we're tracking the latest after a rolling meth lab crashed into a Kentucky State Police cruiser.
It happened around 10 o'clock last night in Georgetown on Outlet Center Drive. Troopers said they tried to make a routine traffic stop when the driver sped off and crashed into a state police cruiser. The driver then tried to run off, but troopers detained him. An active meth lab was found inside the car.
We have a lot of problems in this area with rolling meth labs. It's a danger not only to the people in the vehicles, but it's a danger to other motorists that are around, because any of that contaminated air can actually get drawn into neighboring vehicles. So if anyone is ever aware or suspects that there is a rolling meth lab, we encourage the public to contact Kentucky State Police or the local law enforcement agency.
Kentucky State Police says no one was injured in the crash. The two people who were in the car will face multiple charges after they are decontaminated at an area hospital.
New this morning, we have learned that a man was killed in a crash in Harlan. It happened just before 6 o'clock last night on Kentucky 38 in the Shields community. Troopers say a motorcycle crossed the center line and crashed into a pickup truck. The driver of the motorcycle, 36-year-old Maurice Petrie, died at the scene. Troopers say he was not wearing a helmet. Lloyd Fleener was driving the truck and was not injured. This morning, firefighters are trying to figure out what caused a fire at a sawmill in Menifee County. The flames there spread to part of the Daniel Boone National Forest.
And here we see some smoke in the video. Officer Don Evans shot this from Sky First yesterday. Our Garrett Weimer talked to a woman who lives near all this and watched the flames creep very close to her home.
Down up and watching all that.
Donna Davis spent the afternoon watching the flames get closer and closer to her home.
It's been awful all day. The smoke was thick. You couldn't see nothing.
The fire started here, down the road from Davis at Farrell's Sawmill, but the wind blew smoke and spread flames all afternoon, causing problems for folks all along here and Amos Ridge.
It's scary, real scary, because if it gets down close, I'm out here. I am out of here.
Crews from several counties, not just Menifee, but Montgomery, Morgan, and Bath, as well as the Division of Forestry, spent all afternoon at the fire, but the sawmill was a total loss.
Pretty much starting from square one, so it's going to be tough. But
as Farrell's now faces the reality of having to rebuild what they lost, Tyler Farrell calls the fire that devastated the family business heartbreaking.
We've got, employees that depend on this job, and, my father and my grandfather started this business, 26 years ago.
Yet he's still thankful the fire wasn't any worse than it was. In Menifee County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Gary, thank you. Firefighters tell us the cause of the fire is still under investigation. And firefighters in Rowan County were also busy battling flames yesterday. Fire crews extinguished a large brush fire on Rodburn Hollow Road in Moorhead. Firefighters say the fire was not near anyone's home or business. The cause of that fire is unknown.
Several families are looking for a place to stay after a massive apartment fire in eastern Kentucky. Firefighters say that fire happened at the Highland Heights apartment complex near Prestonsburg in Floyd County yesterday. Firefighters still not sure what started the fire, but they think it began on a second floor porch deck. From there, they say the wind caused the flames to spread. Firefighters were able to get everyone out. No one was injured.
The Lexington Fire Department tells us they responded to more than a dozen outdoor fires yesterday. So the department has issued an open burning ban for Fayette County. That ban applies to all residents and businesses in the county. They're asking people to avoid any fires outdoors. The outdoor burning ban will expire at 7 o'clock, that is later this morning.
Well, he's accused of more than a dozen burglaries, and now Lexington police are looking for victims. Officers arrested Robert Nicholas Britton, who admitted to stealing items from several homes and actually remembered what he took from each one. WKYT's Monique Blair has the story.
About 2 weeks ago, Steve, who lives in the Masterson Station area and wishes to keep his last name anonymous, came home from being out.
Went in the house, forgot to close the garage doors.
But then he remembered and went to close the door.
Came out an hour later. I realized there was an empty spot.
Steve's $400 lawnmower was gone, and Lexington police say for about 2 weeks, home burglaries similar to Steve's were happening all around the city. Then last Tuesday, police arrested 28-year-old Robert Nicholas Britton, the person they think is responsible for at least 15 burglaries.
What we're doing right now is working to get the goods that we have recovered from pawn shops and various places and get those goods reunited with the people that they were taken from.
Now, police say it's crucial that you keep your garage doors closed, especially as the weather gets nicer, because you just don't know when a burglar is lurking in your neighborhood.
Steve says he actually didn't call police when he realized he was the victim of a burglary, but it was the suspect himself who told police.
Guy who did this apparently had agreed to take them around and show them the houses that he stole from. And he said he pointed my house right out.
Knowing the situation could have been much worse than a stolen lawnmower, Steve says he feels fortunate.
The door from the garage to the house was open, unlocked. He could have come in.
In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Police say Britton faces at least a dozen charges.
Well, it's been 1 week since 2 Wolfe County inmates escaped and still no sign of them. State police say cousins, 19-year-old Dallas Trent and 23-year-old John Trent, got away from the jailer while they were being transported last week. They were headed back to the Three Forks Regional Jail after a court appearance in Wolfe County. Officials say the transport car slowed down, and when the vehicle in front of them slowed because there was a dog in the road, it's when they made their break for it. The inmates jumped out of the car and escaped.
A Central Kentucky mother is searching for answers into what happened at a home that landed her sister in jail and her 14-month-old son in the hospital. Police say the woman's sister, Angela Spoonemore, was drunk at home in Garrett County while watching her nephew. Others at the home told police Spoonemore tried to make her nephew drink alcohol and also threw him.
I don't know what happened because I have a recording of one of the girls that signed statements. And I was told at first, she gave it to him, then she threw him to the floor, then she got up and he fell out of her lap. Come here, you can't leave.
Police say the investigation's ongoing. Others were at the home, but Spoonemore was the only one arrested.
It's now 4:39 and UK's rodeo team got some real-life, hands-on practice when a steer got loose right on campus. UK police say the steer escaped around 10 o'clock yesterday morning when he was being offloaded at a campus research facility near Nicholasville Road and Cooper Drive. The steer got through an unsecured gate and was at the center of a hunt for nearly 2 hours. It wasn't until he was lassoed by a member of the UK rodeo team that he was finally caught. The animal was returned to the college unhurt.
Lexington Cow has its own Facebook page, too.
I don't doubt that.
And Twitter, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
Twitter
following
page.
Lexington Cow.
Okay, well, maybe he's corralled for now,
humorous.
It is. A Central Kentucky boy is now a star. This comes after he showed off some pretty sweet moves at Rupp Arena.
This is another good one, right? Another funny one. You may remember Peyton Henderson, an 11-year-old from Georgetown. He captured millions of hearts when he danced to the song Happy at the Boys Sweet 16 tournament in Lexington. Last night, he actually made a national appearance at the Late Late Show right here on CBS. He got to show off his dance moves with the new show host, James Corden.
Just so great to see someone dance like nobody's watching, you know? Even though it turned out that over 80 million people were watching, because that's how many views it's had online in just a few days. It's so beautiful. I mean, I would watch that every day.
I'm sure there's some folks who have been doing that, right? It's a little bit of sunshine to your day. Corden said it was Peyton's first ride on an airplane when he traveled to New York City to show off his dancing skills.
Well, he has the moves, doesn't he?
Yeah, neat experience for him.
That is really fun.
Cool.
All right, 4:40 is the time. It's 20 before 5. WKYT this morning, just getting started.
April 1st kicks off Autism Awareness Month. Moms Every Day has some ideas to support the effort coming up.
And we'll be tracking another nice day. But the problem is we've got showers and thunderstorms rolling our way. Our first slight risk of severe weather of the year. I'll take a closer look coming up.